Welcome. The following message will repeat in Spanish. We are offering live interpretation in Spanish during this meeting. If you wish to hear Spanish interpretation, please click the interpretation button at the bottom right of your Zoom screen. You will see a globe icon. If you are joining via Zoom smartphone app, select your language by clicking More, M-O-R-E, or the three dots in the bottom right corner of your screen. Select Language Interpretation, then choose Spanish, then click Done. If you wish to hear only the interpreter and not the original speaker, be sure to click Mute Original Audio. Everyone must choose a language. I repeat, everyone must choose a language. Do not stay in default off. Thank you. Bienvenidos. Estamos ofreciendo interpretación en español en vivo y en directo durante esta sesión. Si desea escuchar traducción en español, por favor presione el botón de interpretación al pie y a la derecha de su pantalla Zoom. Verá el icono de un globo terráqueo. Si está uniéndose a nosotros, Zoom, en su teléfono inteligente, seleccione su idioma de preferencia presionando más, o los 3 puntitos al pie y a la derecha de su pantalla. Seleccione Interpretación de idiomas. Después elija Spanish y presione Finalizado. Si desea solo escuchar al intérprete y no a los oradores originales, asegúrese de presionar Mute Original Audio. Todos deben seleccionar un idioma. Repito, todos deben seleccionar un idioma. No se quede en apagado predestinado. Gracias.
Good evening. My name is Richard Zaldivar. I'm the Executive Director and the founder of the Las Memorias project. And welcome to Noche de Las Memorias. It's our 27th annual. On December the 1st, 1993, approximately 50 people gathered here at Lincoln Park in Los Angeles to support my vision, to support my dream of building an AIDS monument. For 27 years, we have gathered here every December 1st on World AIDS Day, sometimes in the bitter cold, sometimes in the rain, but we never canceled or postponed our event because this was a night to remember people who passed away from AIDS and to recommit ourselves to the battle against HIV. Tonight, we will continue the tradition of hearing testimonies of those people who passed away from AIDS. Tonight will be a special night like no other, and we know there'll be one day soon that we'll come together for the rededication of our AIDS monument, which is currently under renovation. We've been through difficult times before. We'll get through these difficult times now. Tonight, we are going to replicate the same identical program that we've had for the last 27 years. There'll be an opening prayer, there'll be music, special words from special guests. Make sure you stay with us until the end of the evening. As usual, we will go to this special part that we call Las Memorias, where you get to participate. If you're in the Zoom room, you could type in the name of a loved one that passed away, share an experience. We may call upon you. If you're on Facebook Live, you could do the same thing. But most important of all, that is what Las Memorias is all about. So again, thank you for joining us in these difficult times. Welcome to the 27th annual Noche de las Memorias.
Good evening, I'm Laura Diaz. For the past 15 years, I've been here with you at Noche de las Memorias at the AIDS Monument. Now, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Wall Las Memorias is brought to you virtually tonight. It's a cold and crisp night, and we gather once again by remembering those who we lost to AIDS and to commit to ending HIV once and forever. I'll be back with you in person as Mistress of Ceremonies for the dedication on the renovated monument once we are free of the dangers of COVID. We hope you enjoy this special evening. Until then, take good care of yourself and say a prayer or two that this latest health crisis is controlled and we are all back together again soon.
Good evening and welcome to the Wall Las Memorias 27th Annual Noche de las Memorias. My name is Hannah Green, and I'm a Senior Director at the Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, or PhRMA. And I want to thank the Wall Las Memorias and Richard for inviting me to be here with you all virtually as we commemorate World AIDS Day and remember all of the family and friends that we have lost to HIV and AIDS. As Richard knows, I started my career at a community HIV/AIDS organization in Central Virginia. And so I learned firsthand the impact that this virus can have, not only on a person, but on their family and on an entire community. Like many of you, I know too many people whose lives were cut short by this virus. People that grew up in the shadow of a disease that they felt was stalking their every move. And it's so important that we can take the time on World AIDS Day to remember those that we have lost. And through these dark times, some hope has emerged as HIV is no longer a death sentence. I'm proud to work for the biopharmaceutical industry because we've played such an important role in developing breakthrough treatments for those living with HIV. But I would be remiss if I did not mention the role of activists like yourselves who stood up and demanded a better outcome and a better life for patients living with HIV. And I think without the efforts of the HIV community, we would never be in this position we are today with the advances of drug development, the input that patients can have in the process, and essentially how the entire drug review process goes. So thank you for your contribution, not only to humanity, but also to science, as we figure out the ways that our products can better serve people. Together, we will keep working to find better treatments for HIV and hopefully one day a cure or even a vaccine. But in the meantime, I also want you to know that we will be your partner in remembering those that we've lost. Thank you for your passion and for your dedication, for creating a community where people living with HIV and people who are at risk for HIV can thrive. I'm really proud to work with you and to take time today to remember.
My brothers and sisters, family, tonight we gather as a people of hope. Last Sunday in the Christian tradition, we celebrated the beginning of Advent by lighting the candle of hope. Tonight, each in our own homes, we light different candles, ones of memories, ones of hope. It is hope that sustained us through the early years of the pandemic. For those of you old enough to remember those days, they were terrifying and they were heartbreaking. Many people had multiple friends diagnose and pass within a matter of weeks. Those were also the days of ignorance and fear, when Ryan White wasn't allowed to go to school, when barbershops and salons and even churches proclaimed that if you were positive, you were not welcome. It was in 1993 that the congregation of the Hollywood United Methodist Church affixed 2 red ribbons of love and hope to the sides of our tower in the heart of Hollywood, so that anyone could walk through the doors, gay or straight, HIV positive or negative, and find a home and a community that lives out the words of the prophet Isaiah. Surely it is God who saves me. I will trust in God and not be afraid. That same year, 1993, the Community Advisory Board of the Wall Las Memorias selected this site in Lincoln Park for the Las Memorias AIDS Monument, where we can gather tonight virtually, but soon in person. We can gather to remember and remind one another to trust in God, to not be afraid, and to live as people of hope. I had a parishioner once who shared with me her despair over her diagnosis. And the parishioner said, I didn't know what to say to her, but I told her that I had enough hope for both of us so that she could have some of mine. She said, I have enough hope for both of us. I will hold your hope in my hands and my heart. And when you're ready for me to give it back to you, I will. And that is exactly what we are doing this evening. Holding the hope of those who are in pain, lifting one another up with the memory of beautiful loved ones, and being community, being family with each other. I offer you these thoughts and prayers in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Good evening. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Wall Las Memorias, we welcome you to the 27th Annual Noche de Las Memorias on World AIDS Day. Tonight is a special night as we remember all those who passed away from AIDS. We, as an organization and community, are committed to ending HIV. Today is also the 27th anniversary of the Wall Las Memorias. It is a special day as our organization was founded on this day in 1993. Thank you to the staff, the board, the volunteers, and all of our supporters. Happy anniversary to the Wall Las Memorias.
The Wall Las Memorias has been an incredible resource for communities of color in terms of HIV and AIDS education, prevention, promotion of testing, and really being inclusive of the LGBTQI communities of color, and really had deep reach into the community. And our vision for the future looks even bright. The organization will continue to grow and provide necessary services in the community for decades to come.
We are inviting all of you to provide names of family or friends that were affected by HIV/AIDS, to submit names via our website so we can add them to the Wall Las Memorias monument. We hope that next year you can join us live for the dedication of the monument.
I was given the task to show the journey and representation of the Quetzalcoatl serpent and the symbolic message it carries as a part of the Wall Las Memorias AIDS Monument. During our meetings to finalize the title and promotional flyers, I listened to staff members go back and forth about the journey that the Wall Las Memorias has been on, where it is, and where it will be. And here grew the idea and the image of the Quetzalcoatl serpent and the AIDS ribbon. The Quetzalcoatl was the most important god in ancient Mesoamerica. The god known as the plumbeted serpent is a mix of bird and rattlesnake. The Aztec god was a symbol of many different things. It symbolized knowledge and learning, death and resurrection, and health and culture. It shows people found solace and faith within this god. They used it to inspire themselves no matter the situations. What a perfect symbol to carry here with us at the Wall Las Memorias AIDS Monument, which brings solace and healing to the community who's lost their loved ones to AIDS. The monument consists of 8 wall panels, 6 murals depicting life with AIDS in our community, 2 granite panels that contain the names of individuals who have died from AIDS, and when viewed from above is laid out in the shape of the feathered serpent, the Quetzalcoatl. At the Wall Las Memorias, we have many support groups and programs to educate as well as provide health prevention services to our community. We will continue our journey and never forget those we've lost along the way. If you've lost someone to AIDS complications, we are currently taking name submissions for the AIDS Monument. Please go to thewalllasmemorias.org.
Good evening and buenas tardes. I'm County Board of Supervisor Hilda Solis, representing the 1st District. And in the midst of this dark year, plagued with the worsening pandemic and the political division of the country, we gather on this solemn night to commemorate the lives lost to the AIDS epidemic. As is the theme for tonight's Noche de las Memorias, a journey of resiliency and compassion, we remember on this World's AIDS Day the power of organized community and the importance of healing through this process. We continue our commitment as a community to get down to zero and eradicate HIV from our communities here in Los Angeles County and beyond. For over 27 years, the Wall Las Memorias project has been rooted in working in our local communities to challenge the status quo, help eradicate stigma, bigotry, and create a safer place for dialogue, community building, education, and prevention services. Their tremendous growth has led the organization to broaden its base and support to include faith-based institutions, business, community, neighborhood groups, parents, youth, labor, and entertainment. And in 2019, I was proud to have led the effort for approval of $350,000 of funding for the renovation of the Wall Memorias AIDS Monument, the only publicly funded monument in this country. The Wall Las Memorias AIDS Monument is widely recognized as a catalyst for social change and action by engaging the underserved communities, by promoting wellness, and by eliminating stigma among all people. I look forward to having the entire community back in the near future in celebration of the renovation of the AIDS Monument, and encourage everyone to continue in the fight to end HIV and AIDS. And I encourage everyone to please submit the name of someone you've lost to AIDS to be added to the monument later this year. I thank and congratulate the Wall Las Memorias Project for your courageous work, advocacy, passion, and inclusivity. Congratulations on a successful 27th anniversary Noche de las Memorias.
Hi, my name is Raymond Martinez, and I'm a community organizer here at the Wall Las Memorias Project. And some of the community that I work with are queer men of color. I help educate preventative measures for HIV, facilitate leadership development workshops, and help create action plans for community organizing. I'm passionate about getting involved and to be able to provide these resources I wish I had sooner in life. I strongly believe resources for queer men of color, such as HIV prevention, safe spaces to have conversations around HIV, are important because HIV affects us at a higher risk than most communities. Growing up as a gay Latino, I heard little to no information about HIV prevention. I saw little to no resources for HIV, wasn't properly taught in grade school about HIV prevention as well. The more I started getting involved in my community, the more often I heard stories about the HIV epidemic. I'm here today grateful to have met some amazing people along my journey that I consider family who lived through the AIDS epidemic and shared their stories with me. They taught me the importance of getting involved in our community to make a difference. And one way by doing so was as simple as getting tested and knowing your status. To this day, people continue to die from complications related to HIV and AIDS. And the reality is, today we have the opportunity to end HIV. If it weren't for our compassionate siblings out there spreading the word about preventative care, educating our community on HIV and AIDS, and the importance and available resources there are to get tested, using a condom, taking PrEP, I don't know where I would be or who I would be today. We provide HIV testing at the Wall Las Memorias. You can even schedule a testing appointment on our website. Now is the time to erase the stigma. Come in and get tested for HIV and join our campaign to get to zero and help end HIV forever. We are family and we are in this together.
Good evening. Buenas noches. On behalf of the Department of Public Health and its Division of HIV and STD Programs, I want to start by wishing all of you and your loved ones a healthy and safe holiday season. I also want to thank the team at the Wall Las Memorias for their decades-long commitment to keeping HIV at the forefront of our consciousness, for their resilience, and for hosting this virtual 2020 World AIDS Day commemoration. 2020 started with newfound energy, hope, and commitment to end the HIV epidemic, with an infusion of new federal resources to further catalyze efforts to diagnose, prevent, and treat HIV, coupled with biomedical tools like PrEP, and support for a higher level of community-driven HIV engagement and mobilization. We set new milestones to be achieved by 2025, on the road to end the HIV epidemic by 2030. In the midst of our ambitious new HIV goals, for most of 2020, LA has experienced unprecedented challenges related to COVID-19. In fact, there has not been a single week with a higher number of reported COVID cases than this week. Our response to HIV has demanded the significant marshaling of public health human resources, program innovation, state-of-the-art surveillance and epidemiology, new testing technology, enhanced laboratory capacity, education, and a strong sense of shared community purpose and action. The same things now demanded of us by COVID. This year we have witnessed significant impact of the economic health of our communities. We have stood in solidarity with the Black Lives Matter movement, and we continue to confront the growing epidemics of syphilis, meth use, injection drug use, and potential HIV outbreaks. We join efforts to confront structural and systemic racism, transgender violence, police brutality, and other forms of injustice. This year, we invested more resources than ever to prevent and combat the humanitarian crisis tied to homelessness. This year, like no other, we have been reminded of the high level of interconnectedness of these issues. And while our resilience has been tested and our impact has been challenged, our resolve and commitment to humanity remains unshaken. As MLK Jr. shared, we must accept finite disappointment, but we must never lose infinite hope. On behalf of the team at the HSP on this World AIDS Day 2020, I thank you all for your steadfast commitment to public health and your positive impact on the communities we serve. In the midst of the COVID pandemic and these complex and trying times, we ask you to join us as we remain focused on strengthening the resilience of the residents of our county, and as we maintain an unwavering drive to end the HIV epidemic. Gracias.
Hi, my name is Gustavo Velez. I'm a community organizer at the Wall Las Memorias project. Tonight, I will be introducing you to an organization in Tijuana, Mexico, Albergue Las Memorias, a non-profit organization that works to provide warm and humane care to people living with HIV and AIDS and provides educational activities for the prevention of HIV and STDs. This organization has been kept open through the support of the community members and surrounding community organizations. All the way from Los Angeles, the Wall Las Memorias project is proud to be a strong supporter of Albergue Las Memorias for over 2 decades. Our unity began in 1995 when a few queer men from our men's group, which back then was composed of 90 men, attended Tijuana's first Pride event. They attended to celebrate with their friends and family and expand their philanthropy to our Latinx community in Baja California. During that trip, they were introduced to Hospice San Rafael. Hospice San Rafael was run by one man who dedicated his free time to create a safe space for people living with HIV and AIDS. The one-man staff hospice was shortly closed down due to underfunding and health hazards. The Wall Las Memorias project took a trip to Baja and began the fight to reopen the much-needed space for LGBTQI2S Latinx community. With the cooperation of Mexico's Department of Public Health, the Wall Las Memorias project, and Mexican organizations, the hospice was reopened and re-established as Albergue Las Memorias. Albergue Las Memorias is a part of the Wall Las Memorias, our extended family. We continue to support them through fundraising, sending our staff and volunteers to trips to Tijuana, and helping them fight stigma. Es aquí donde el espíritu humano se reúne con nuestro Creador. Es aquí donde compartimos nuestro amor, compasión, fe y esperanza unos con otros como una familia. It is here where the human spirit meets our Creator. It is here that we share our love, compassion, faith, and hope with each other as a family. Please enjoy a special message from its staff and its clients, all the way from Tijuana, Mexico.
Dormitorio de nuestros hermanos y hermanas de la comunidad LGBT. Y aquí es su dormitorio especial y exclusivo, con sus baños privados y todo. Y quieren mandar un saludo, compañeros.
¡Saludos!
A TWLM, Las Memorias.
Hola, hola.
Saludos. Hecho.
Saluda a todos.
Saludos y bienvenidos cuando quieran venir.
Ya que pasa el COVID. Órale, pues gracias.
My name is Adam Reyes. I use he and they pronouns, and I have been a community organizer here at the Las Memorias since 2018. I would like to highlight the importance of transgender, non-binary, and intersex competency here at our agency. At the Las Memorias project, we do empathize with the struggles in which trans, non-binary, and intersex folks do face on a consistent basis. Currently, our communities continue to face obstacles within socioeconomic barriers, along with trying to gather resources that will affirm folks by their gender identity. We understand with all these factors in mind that there is an importance of allowing our local communities to take control of their own sexual health with empowering resources. Personally, having to navigate my own medical care, I would experience difficulty accessing a provider who had LGBTQ community knowledge. By this consistent obstacle, I was unaware for my options for PrEP or HIV prevention care. I luckily then had access to local community resources and learned about HIV testing. It was then that I really began to feel empowered within my own well-being as a Latinx transmasculine non-binary person. By assessing our own needs within the resources available to us, the Las Memorias is committed to aligning trans people to affirming and competent resources around HIV care and prevention. By encouraging our community to schedule an HIV test, it can be an effective action to take control of the resources we do have in front of us during these trying times. If you or a loved one would like to learn more about TWLMP and our testing services, you can visit thewallacememorias.org and schedule an appointment either at our downtown LA office or Highland Park office. We also have empowering community support groups on Zoom, such as She, Her, Hers, and NB entities, where we highlight discussions around HIV competent care and other issues in our local communities among transgender women or non-binary individuals of color. Info on these support groups and HIV testing can be found on our official website.
Hi, this is your Councilman Gil Cilio, and perhaps besides Richard and a few others, one of the longest supporters of the concept around the wall, Las Memorias. Let me say this to you. I know that this is an evening where we are gathering together to remember those who have been victims of an incredible epidemic. But I want to say something else. I want to say that we are also in a new pandemic. We are at a moment of incredible crisis and a moment that requires leadership. And I don't think there's a better community to provide that leadership than the LGBTQ community. A community that suffered without leadership from the White House during the beginning of the AIDS epidemic, a community that knows discrimination, a community that also knows hope and discipline. And right now, through this pandemic, we look to you to show us the examples of a community coming together to lead, to keep our hope and to keep our vision for a community and a society that does not discriminate and that embraces all of us as God's children with dignity and respect. So let's enjoy the evening, but then let's socially distance, embrace each other as the leaders that you are, and be those leaders to help us get out of this pandemic and to go forward to build a better community without discrimination and embracing all God's children with dignity and respect. God bless you and thank you.
Hello, I'm Wilson Cruz, and I'm so honored to be with you today at the 27th annual Noche de las Memorias to commemorate World AIDS Day. This event is so important to the people of our community and the world. In the midst of another pandemic of a different kind, we are reserving this moment to remember all those we've lost to AIDS. I've lost many. My first was when I was 16 years old, when my favorite uncle, Luis Angel Cruz, died from AIDS. The void his death left is still felt in my family. We miss him, and we speak his name often, so no one will ever forget him and all that he still means to us. Knowledge is power. It's important to remember to get an HIV test on a regular basis. This epidemic is still with us, devastating families across this country, especially in communities of color. So let's be a part of the campaign to eradicate HIV by getting down to zero. If you would like to test for HIV, visit the Wall Las Memorias website today and schedule an appointment on their page. Mis hermanos y mis hermanas, gracias por todos, and thank you for making a difference.
Hello, family. I'm Mike Gibson, California State Assembly member representing the 64th State Assembly District. I want to pause for a moment and say thank you very much for allowing me to come and celebrate with you the 27th annual Noche de Las Memorias, Night of Memories. As we reflect on the beautiful and wonderful souls, those who've lost their lives to HIV and AIDS in our community and our families, we know that their memory will continue to live with us and be with us in our hearts and our minds. And it's because of that, for me, that's what fuels the fight in me to making sure that I do everything that I can to reduce the infectious rate in this state, getting to zero. I chair the Select Committee on Infectious Diseases and High-Risk Disadvantaged Communities to making sure that even though that Rod, Sean, Ricky, Maria, Joe, Michelle, these are all individuals that are very close to me. Patrick, that lost their lives due to this disease, that we can get to zero new infectious cases so that people can live a long, healthy life and continue to pour into and make California the best state in the union. And so I'm asking you to please join me in this fight and let the memory of those who you loved and cared about, who memory we celebrate, continue to live on through your work, through your activism, by helping us get to zero. We invite you to be part of this fight with us. I'm asking you to reach out to me. I'm asking you to go to a64.asm.org and see how you can get involved so that no one in our families, in this community, in this state, will have to ever be infected by HIV and AIDS. Thank you so very much, and God bless you all.
Hi, my name is Maria Elena Durazo, and I'm California State Senator representing District 24, including Lincoln Park, where the Wall Las Memorias is located. I am so honored to be here with you to join you for the 27th annual Noche de las Memorias on World AIDS Day. I want to take this moment to remember and honor all of our friends, our family members, and everyone else who we have lost to the AIDS epidemic. We must reflect, and more importantly, we must act on all the remaining work that needs to be done to end it. Now more than ever, we need to roll up our sleeves and get to zero, LA. That means zero infections by 2030. The first step is simple. Start the conversation, get tested, and know your status. As a former member of the Wall Las Memorias board and now state senator, I commit to continue to do the great work of the Wall Las Memorias. I am especially appreciative of Richard Saldivar, who has kept this battle going year after year after year and has never given up. I'm also appreciative of the teams that he has had throughout the many years. I'm so proud to fight for expanded health care. No one should ever be denied treatment because of the lack of health insurance, and that is especially true for our undocumented sisters and brothers. I'm proud to support preventative measures like PrEP and PEP. It is essential for us to do whatever it takes. This is about bringing justice to our communities and end HIV/AIDS once and for all. Gracias a todos por su dedicación. Tenemos que terminar con esta epidemia del VIH y la SIDA. Gracias.
And the dead will be commemorated, and we'll struggle on with living. And we're not going away. We won't die in silence anymore. The world only spins forward.
We will be citizens. The time has come by now. You are fabulous, each and every one, and I bless you. More life. The great work begins.
Hi, I'm Justina Machado.
And I'm Laura Cerón. That was the last line for Tony Kushner's brilliant drama, Angels in America. We are honored to be here tonight, along with all of you, to commemorate World AIDS Day. And we'd like to thank Richard Zaldivar and the WAL Las Memorias for inviting us to be part of this beautiful memorial and celebration of life.
Which is why we're here tonight. We know that it's been a crazy, difficult year. 2020 has been out of control.
Yep.
But we remember all those who have passed from AIDS. We remember our friends, family members, people we know, people we don't know who have passed away from AIDS.
The WAL Las Memorias project provides outreach, advocacy, and education to all the Latino community.
Which is why we invite you to include their name on the monument to the WAL Las Memorias website. There's no charge. I'll say it again, there's no charge. So go ahead and include their name in the WAL Las Memorias website.
And in the beautiful words of Tony Kushner, we invite you to remind you of these blessings. More life.
The great work begins.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Good evening. Hi, Kenny. How are you? Thank you so much for meeting with me today. Today is World AIDS Day, December the 1st, and it's World AIDS Day around the world. Tonight, we're so appreciative that you're joining us on this 27th annual Noche de las Memorias. I wanted to revisit some of our conversation that we had a few weeks ago. But before we get to that, I just want to remind the audience of who you are. Your career spanned the lifetime of HIV and AIDS, and your directing and choreography, which has shaped generations and directly impacted how we see ourselves. From the movie Dirty Dancing, which I told you I love, and I won't tell you what role I wanted to be in that movie, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Pretty in Pink, Newsies, Hocus Pocus, and Disney's Descendants trilogy. You continue to be an incredible voice of our generation after generation. So I want to welcome you to Noche.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you so much. You know, I was so impressed to learn about all the great work that you, Richard, and the WAL Las Memorias does for the Los Angeles community, and especially for the Latino X LGBTQ plus community. You know, I sit on the board of the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, and every year, you know, I do my best to honor and commemorate World AIDS Day. So thank you and your supporters for inviting me to be a part of this most special day.
Thank you, Kenny. I really appreciate that. I wanted to ask you a few questions today, and I know we don't have much time, and it's an important day, but you're an important person. Can you just tell us a little bit about who Kenny Ortega is, and how did you become who you are today?
Kenny Ortega. You know, I'm the child of Hispanic American parents. My grandparents were immigrants that came over from Spain on a boat through Hawaii and into California. They worked in the fields. They worked in the canneries. You know, we grew up simply, but with music and love and family. I don't know, I have this vision for myself, and I'm not even certain where it came from, other than perhaps from watching my parents dance and their love of music and each other. And it was supported. And without any know-how, you know, of really how to pursue the ambitions that I had for myself, along the way, there were these little miracles that just seemed to happen. Although it was a tough road, Richard, and I had to bob and weave, you know, for many, many, many years. You know, I was given a scholarship when I couldn't afford to pay for dance lessons. I met Gene Kelly on my first motion picture, who inspired me and taught me about the art of creating choreography for the camera. And John Hughes, who gave me my first director's job in Ferris Bueller's Day Off for the big parade sequence. My life, you know, I really believe, you know, that there was this voice inside of me, and that God blessed me, you know, with this imagination, and that I fought for it, I soldiered for it, and I refused to sort of give it up. And I find myself now a man dancing in his dreams, having had a beautiful life filled with gratefulness and happiness.
I love that. A man dancing with his dreams. Sounds like a name of a good book.
Okay.
Kenny, how has, and I know you've been active in the fight against AIDS and HIV prevention. How has AIDS impacted your life?
Oh. Well, in the beginning, I mean, it took so much away from me. Us, our community. I was in New York in the 80s, early 80s, and woke to this horrible nightmare, this disease that had no name, and watched my brothers left and right behind me and in front of me while I was there doing theater, you know, getting sick and ending up in the hospital and dying with no understanding of why. And the anxiety and the fear that you know was not that had sort of moved into our community. Could we be in the same room with each other? Were we just going to fall because we were gay men? Was I next? Was I going to be next? You know, a lot, and just losing incredible friends and partners, creative partners throughout, you know, the period before, you know, cocktails and medications became available. It gave me, I think, a greater and deeper sense of the value of life and how important it is to sort of live every day, you know, as if it could be your last, and to be conscientious of what you're giving to every day. You know, what are you giving? You know, you know, I want my life so much to be about more than the work, and that's why I'm so grateful to be here with you today. You know, and to be speaking out and to be talking about this.
I appreciate those. I know it's not easy sometimes to travel back and remember, and I know we all remember from time to time during the year certain birthdays, certain musicals that we will watch, but this is an important moment and I want to thank you for that. For you, this World AIDS Day is a lot different than any other. We see an increase of HIV cases, but we also see tremendous increases of a new pandemic, and it's called COVID-19. Has there been a correlation for you and your friends between COVID and AIDS?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, you know, I found myself, I had traveled to Las Vegas for a project that I was doing there at the Wynn Hotel, jumped on a plane to go to Philadelphia to do some ADR work with one of my actors in Pennsylvania. Then flew for 5 days of theater in New York every single night, going to another production. Then I flew to a wedding in Boca Raton, Florida, and back to Los Angeles, where I heard that there was going to be a quarantine because of this pandemic. And I thought, well, here we go again. Here we go again. I've been in every situation that probably is going to make me a candidate. And that was the first thing I thought of. So I locked myself away from everyone, from my sister, my mother, who was 94 and not well, from my family, from friends. And I found myself in that dark place again, and others, as we spoke and communicated through internet and the telephone. The one thing that I think, for those of us that have lived long enough to know what it was like to live in the beginning of AIDS, the horror of that time, you know, it's important that, you know, for us to remind people how important it is to stop and to listen and to follow good advice. And we can move through this like we're moving, you know, forward in ultimately the cure for AIDS. And that's where I find the you know, a connection, is that, you know, we have to be smart, and we have to be ready and open and willing to make sacrifices, you know, in order for us to save ourselves and those we love, and to be able to move forward and eventually come out the other side of this. Yeah, I never thought that I'd ever have to live through another experience like the 80s and AIDS entering into my life, and this has come close.
You know, what I've learned from you in the last couple of months, I find you to be such a positive influence on so many people, a very strong leader, someone who constantly gives back to community. What can you share with us about how you practice bringing joy into your life?
For a long while, Richard, I've really done my best to be mindful of living in an affirmative place in my mind, living, you know, in an affirmative place. I was very fortunate, again, you know, throughout my life, to work and meet people that have been inspirational. Books, voices. Gene Kelly, you know, the first night that Gene Kelly, you know, the great director, choreographer, and star of motion picture musicals, invited me to his home. We were sharing in a conversation about some of the projects that I was working on, and he asked me, what is the raison d'être? What is the reason for being? And I didn't know what the meaning or those words meant, French. And I came to learn that they meant the reason for being, that sits at the center of an idea, that makes it worthwhile for you to invest yourself in and to take part in. And that was many, many, many years ago. And it was one of the great, great lessons that I learned from Gene. And I think that, you know, the choices that I make in my life, in work, and just all choices, I do my best to make sure that there's a good reason that sits in the middle, you know, that makes those choices smart choices, important choices, and that are going to move me forward and others forward, and just living a grateful life, just a grateful life.
I love that. You know, as you know, our AIDS monument renovation is almost complete, and soon we'll be having a dedication. Hopefully, when we can be out in public again. And I know you're going to be with us either in person or through this space. And I appreciate that. It's such an honor to have you join us as an honorary co-chair of that event. But for tonight, World AIDS Day, is there someone or some names that you want to remember that you lost to AIDS in your life that you can share with the audience?
Yeah, there are many, but there are two young men that we lost to AIDS that I was so fond of. Two Latin-born boys, here, Los Angeles-born Latino boys, Michael Perea and Dominic Lucero, both very young, brilliant dancers that were in many projects with me in the late 70s, 80s, and early 90s. Michael Perea was my assistant choreographer for so many movies and television shows and theatrical productions and concert tours. And Dominic Lucero was the light in the room, one of the most brilliant dancers of his generation. And both of them left us way too soon. They remain in my prayers with so many other friends and family that I have lost to this world for various reasons. With the permission of their families, Richard, I would love to include their names on the Wall de las Memorias.
Awesome. That'd be so great. Thank you so much, Kenny. I want to just, as we get towards the end of this program, people are struggling in this country. We see an increase of HIV/AIDS in our community. We see an increase of substance use. People are losing their homes, they're losing their jobs. What do you tell them on this World AIDS Day?
It's the choices we make. It's the choices we make, you know, that determine, you know, who we are and where we end up. Step back away from the colors of blue and red. Step back away from politics. Step back and get into that place in yourself that is the most honest part of yourself. And look at how you can help mend the situation rather than finding ways to argue with it, debate it, fight it. Take part in doing something to help mend it. Reach out, participate, unite, love one another.
That's powerful advice. Soon we'll be launching our campaign, Getting to Zero LA, bringing down and eradicating HIV once and for all, as part of the CDC's campaign, Getting to Zero by 2030. I would love to be able to continue to reach back to you for your advice and your insight, Kenny, sometime soon.
I hope to be standing next to you, Richard, in 2030, and to be knowing that to be the truth, that we're at zero. I pray that, I do.
I want to take this time on behalf of all of us at the Wall de las Memorias Project to thank you for joining us. Thank you for all the work that you have done. Most important of all, thank you for being such a role model, such an inspiration to many Latinos who are struggling with their sexual orientation. They struggle within their family and within their faith-based institution, but you have been that shining star, and you have dedicated so much of your life to your creativity, which makes us all feel so proud of who you are. Thank you so much, Kenny, and God bless you.
Thank you, and to all your supporters for inviting me to be a part of today. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Bye.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever.
27 years ago, there were 50 people who came to Lincoln Park. That was the same year that I thought about building an AIDS monument. And we gathered not too far away from here, and something magical happened. We all gathered in a circle and held hands. We said a few prayers, and then all of a sudden, we started crying and remembering those who passed away from AIDS. Now, 27 years later, I look back at those 50 people or so as being the guardian angels to this incredible organization that I'm so lucky to be part of. I first also want to apologize for some of the technical problems we've had with the internet. We're doing now a remote here from the AIDS Monument in Lincoln Park. And you can hear, as you can tell, we're in a big city. You hear the siren in the background. That reminds us that this is a reality. We're in Los Angeles. As I spoke of those guardian angels, I also speak of the guardian angels of tonight. Amazing people who are making this incredible event so that you could be in the warmth of your house to participate in the 27th annual Noche de Las Memorias. I want to first thank our incredible sponsors, Kaiser Permanente, Pharma, Gilead, Aetna, and I also want to thank the incredible team that's out here in the cold, providing this feed to all of you here tonight. These are the guardian angels. This is Las Memorias. This is probably the most profound night of the year for many of us at the Las Memorias Project. We work so hard because this is who we are. And we want to make sure that you have this safe space where we can share a common part of our history, of our lives, when we lost someone to HIV and AIDS. I started this organization because my best friend shared that he was HIV positive. And I remember in those dark days, the feeling, the anxiety, the stigma that he experienced. I don't know what was worse, him being sick with HIV or him feeling like he was diseased and disgraced, because that's what society did to him and so many people during that time. So I offer this night up to my best friend, David Ruiz, who passed away like so many of my other friends that I have not even had the chance to grieve fully after so many years. So with that night, we're not going to deter from our tradition where we go out to the audience and hold a microphone to someone's face and ask them to say a few words about a loved one that they lost. And tonight, we go out to you. So with that, I'd like to call up Tom Chapman, a member of our team, who has a testimony to provide.
Thank you so much, Richard, and good evening, and thank you to everybody who is here. Myself, along with my sisters, Kim and Pat, we are adding my dad, Keith Chapman's name to the monument this year. He was born in LA, and we were all raised and lived with him in Southeast LA, where he was a customer service rep for many years throughout his career. I know our dad is looking down on us and is very proud of us to take this moment to add him to this beautiful monument. Thank you again to Richard, and along with my team at the Las Memorias Project, thank you all for your support. Thank you to the leaders that I work with that are our future, to take us, through what struggles everyone still has in the LGBT community. And to my husband, Eric, for the 29 years we've been together, thank you for your support. Thank you again, Richard.
Thank you, Tom. Now I'd like to call a part-time member of our staff, part of our familia. He is a pastor at the Epiphany Episcopal Church in Lincoln Heights, Father Tom Carey. Tom.
Thank you, Richard. It's very, very, very moving to be here tonight, and it's such a paradox to be here in my living room and watching you out there. Tonight, I want to remember a man named Tim Dlugos, who I'm a member of that generation that first struggled with the first wave of the pandemic. And in that pandemic in New York City, where I lived, and I'm sure here in LA, we lost a whole generation of young artists and choreographers, poets, painters, singers, songwriters, actors, just swept away. And this man, Timothy Dlugos, was a great poet. This is his picture. There he is. He died about 30 years ago, right now, in December of 1990. And I'm going to read just very briefly the last part of a poem he wrote called G9. G9 was the AIDS ward at Roosevelt Hospital. And this was written right after his first stint there. So this is very brief, but I'll just end with this. Joe O'Hare flew in last week. He asked, what were the best times of my New York years? I said today, and meant it. I hope that death will lift me by the hair like an angel in a Hebrew myth, snatch me with the strength of sleep's embrace, and gently set me down where I'm supposed to be, in just the right place.
Thank you so much, Tom. I want to invite everybody at home to feel free to go into the Zoom chat or into the Facebook live chat and put in the name of someone that you lost to AIDS so we could remember them appropriately tonight. I also want to make sure that all of you who have a candle at home, get your candle ready with a match or a lighter so we can do our traditional lighting of the candle as we remember those who passed over the past 30 years. I'd like to call upon another friend of the community to share a testimony. He is the editor, the publisher of the LA Blade. Tonight, this event is being streamed live on the LA and Washington Blade publication on their website. And so he's a great friend of the community, and I want to call upon Troy Masters.
Hi, Richard. Thank you, Richard, and thank you, Wallace Memorias. It's been it's a great honor to support you and do what we can to get exposure for the efforts. And I'm remembering tonight so many friends that I lost during the AIDS crisis, most of the time while I was living in New York, from the mid 80s till the year 2015 when I moved to Los Angeles. Among them are some of the most formative people who I've never forgotten and will never forget, who changed every cellular part of my being. Some of whom died in my arms, some of whom I helped die. But it was today in a Zoom call with Richard earlier, he said something that was really beautiful, that the wall, Las Memorias, gave agency to families who otherwise had shame to reach out and to acknowledge and be proud of the names that are on those walls and to remember the lives and the way they lived and the way they died. I think that's the power of the wall. It's the power of memory, and it's the reason we have World AIDS Day. So I really do, I really thank you for this. It's been a very nurturing day, and I hope it helps a lot of people. So thank you, Richard.
Thank you so much, Troy. This is a special night. We have some names that I want to acknowledge. They are Michelle Dorino, Ken Wright, Jesus Aquiano, Gilbert David Chavez, David Ramirez. Before I read some more names, I'd like to invite to the podium, to the screen, Jaime Aragon for a testimony.
Yes, good evening. Hi, can I be heard? Yes. Hello, good evening. Thank you, Richard, for this moment. I just want to acknowledge my primo, Marky Rangel, who was like a brother to me. Unfortunately, there was some shame and there was some misunderstanding from some family members that I would never want to happen again to any person, especially men from the Latino community. So I just want to remember him as he loved to dance, as he loved to travel, as he loved to work as a travel agent. And I just want to say, presente, primo, I love you, and gracias for this moment.
Thank you so much. I'd like to read out some more names. David Ramirez Jr., Louis Galicia, Felix Ricky Sanchez, Daniel Salazar, Edward Patton, Solomon Hardin, Rodolfo Samuria, Carrie Scott Young. I see another name, and I don't. I'm waiting for some more names to come into me. So, is there anybody who may want to say a few words? I also want to acknowledge, and I lost that name too. David Morris. Any more names, please feel free to put them in the chat. And want to remind everyone that this AIDS monument is under renovation. It should be ready and completed by January, but we're holding off on a dedication of this beautiful monument until early summer when we get to some kind of normalcy. The monument, by the way, has been changed somewhat. New lighting, new irrigation system, and soon we'll be bringing in 13 fully grown trees. It will be not only a monument, but a memorial setting for all of you to share. This is a special time of the night where we're gonna ask everyone at home to light a candle. Some of you may have been sent candles from our team. And so this is a special time because this is where we are all able to share a special moment, looking into the light of the candle, knowing that there's a brightness to the human spirit. And through that brightness, we always come through in challenging times. And some of us have moved on. And for tonight, in this unique setting, we still get to share the memories of our lost loved ones. So for the next 60 minutes, I'm asking all of you to remember all those who died of AIDS, but I'm also going to ask you tonight to remember all those that we're losing to COVID-19, because we're all humanity. Thank you very much. I want to say, as before we go on to the next number, and there's going to be an incredible musical number at the end of the program, before we hear from Father Tom, I want to tell everybody on behalf of the Wall Las Memorias Project, I want to thank everybody for your support, for being here tonight. I want to thank the tremendous staff that we have at the Wall Las Memorias. This event was coordinated by an incredible young man, Andres Magana. All his team has put together so many different elements. Our videographer, Emilia Flores, our fundraising person, Rachel Malkenhorst, and the folks that are behind the lights that are operating this tremendous event tonight. Thank you so much. And to all of you that are home, there may be some dark days ahead, but we're getting through it. Soon, we hope we'll be able to come together in person, hug each other, laugh, cry, be able to go to dinner, and be wild and crazy. There will be a day. But for the time being, pray for all those who don't have what we have tonight, and that's the light. Have a great holidays, a great Christmas, and God bless you. And now, we'd like to hear a closing prayer.
It's a great pleasure to be with you this evening. One of the beautiful things about our country is that we have the freedom to believe in a God of our understanding, to follow a particular religion, or to not believe, and to not follow any particular doctrine or faith. So let us take a few minutes, a few moments, to put ourselves in touch. If you are a follower of any faith, to put yourself in touch with the God of your understanding. And if you don't follow any faith, to put yourself in touch with your highest self, to the part of you that sees and is awake and understands. And let us give thanks that there have always been among us people like Richard Zaldivar and the staff at the Wall Las Memorias Project, who have walked with us through times of illness, who have taught us how to care for ourselves, to educate ourselves, who have taught us to walk through our lives with pride and without shame. So may God bless you all, and may God bless the Wall Las Memorias Project.
Hello, I'm Juan Pablo Di Pace, and it is an honor to be with you on this 27th annual Noche de las Memorias on this World AIDS Day. This has been a great evening of remembrance of those we lost to AIDS. We have heard so many touching and electrifying stories from so many community leaders. Now I want to share with you my voice and my passion for ending this AIDS epidemic and share my love to all my brothers and sisters of our community. I dedicate this song to you. It is called Immortality by the Bee Gees.
So this is who I am, and this is all I know, and I must choose to live for all that I can give, the spark that makes the power grow. And I will stand for my dream if I can, symbol of my faith in who I am. But you are my only, and I must follow on the road that lies ahead, and over my heart I'll find the way. But you are my only, and we don't say goodbye, we don't say goodbye. and I know what I've got to be. Immortality, I make my journey through eternity. I keep a memory of you and me inside. Fulfill your destiny, it's there within the child. My storm will never end, my fate is on the wind. The king of hearts, the jokers are wild, and we don't say goodbye. We don't say goodbye. I'll make them all remember me. Immortality, there is a vision and a fire in me. I keep a memory of you and me inside. And we don't say goodbye. And all my love for you, and what else we may do, we don't say goodbye.
Wow, what a great song by Juan Pablo. Thank you so much. Well, it looks like this is it for the evening. Thank you so much for joining us on this World AIDS Day, December the 1st, 2020, at the 27th annual Noche de las Memorias. It's been a great night. I want to thank my entire staff and the volunteers, and especially Andres Magana for helping coordinate this event for this evening. We really enjoyed being with you again for the 27th annual. I want to invite anybody who lost someone to AIDS to go to our website at thewalasmemorias.org and submit a name of your loved one. All the new names will be unveiled at our rededication ceremony sometime in the summer of 2021. And as we close out this evening, know that you're not alone. We've been through difficult times in the past, and we will be in the future. But for this evening and for the near future, as long as we're together, we keep the faith, we will be one. Thank you so much. Have a great holiday season, and God bless you.